Hi, welcome back to Comic Book Weekly. We got a very special episode for you this week. Boobies, explosions, car chases, and Clint Eastwood.
Miles, we don't have any of that.
Well, we have comics. And this week we'll give you our weekly reviews on what we thought about our comics. And we'll also give you our wrap-up on Villains Month. Malcolm?
Today I'm going to be reviewing Guardians of the Galaxy issue 6. It is written by Brian Michael Bendis. The artist is Sarah Pichelli and Oliver Coipel. Now what makes this issue so great is it's a large battle scene, and the battle is against Image's own Angel. Very, very cool comic, especially since it's just a giant battle, and most giant battles are just long and dragged out with no dialogue, but this battle had a lot of dialogue in, and it really impressed me, the talking. But even then, she's not your typical villain. She did not talk throughout the battle at all, Angel. She did not talk, and that was really weird because most evil villains like to banter and talk about what they're going to do and everything, but she just didn't say anything. So you don't really understand if she's a villain or not. She just attacked.
What series is Angel from?
She's from Spawn's Image Comics.
So did Todd McFarlane have anything to do with this issue?
No, nothing at all. I think Marvel just bought the rights to Angel. And Angel appeared in the Marvel Universe during the Age of Ultron event when the Avengers broke the space-time continuum. So for the story, I give it a 9 because it was a 9. Because it was a
board on this.
Just
Don't worry, I'm selling out.
The Shack is still not on board. A month in, not on board.
So, 9 kapows. It was fantastic. I loved it. I loved the whole battle scenes. It kept me reading. It was like, it was just so amazing. The art also very cool. The only thing that bothered me a bit is it was a bit scratchy. It sketched out a bit. I would have preferred it to be a bit smoother, but I did really enjoy the art. So I'm going to give the art an 8 kapows. Now I'm going to give you here to Jordan.
Hey guys, this week I've got The Trial of the Punisher, issue 1 of 2, written by Mark Guggenheim and Lionel Francis Yu. I was super stoked about this title because Frank Castle, the Punisher, is my favorite comic book character, and I've been waiting a while for a really good Frank Castle story to come around again. And this one definitely fits the bill. It's pretty self-explanatory. Frank's on trial for murder, and you can definitely tell though if you've ever read The Punisher, just when you're reading this book in particular, he's got something up his sleeve because Frank doesn't generally end up in custody unless Frank wants to be in custody. So one of the interesting things about it is the writer was also a lawyer. In Massachusetts, I believe, for a few years before he became a comic book writer.
Do you know if he's a criminal lawyer at all?
I have no clue. I couldn't find that. But definitely used his expertise or his knowledge of that field in this, and it makes for a great story. I gave it 10 kapows. Which might be a little biased, but I honestly think this is a really good story. The art is also wicked. It's so good. I wrote down 9.5 kapows for this issue, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give it a 10 kapows. This is
perfect issue.
This is a 10 across the board. The art is so good, and there's so much like fine little details that I'll show you the cover there. I forgot to, but there's so many great, just beautiful frames where there's so much detail and it just looks beautiful.
Grittiness. And
it's gritty. You know, I like gritty. If you watched any, I love gritty art. So it's great. I love this issue. I think it's a must pick up, and I think it's setting up a new series for Frank, which I think is going to be great. But I'm going to pass it along to Miles here, who's going to hit us up with
Jupiter's Legacy.
He said it right. He got it wrong like 12 times in rehearsal.
It's not Juniper's Legacy.
Written by Mark Millar and drawn by Frank Quietly. Well,
you got that right too.
The miracle.
No.
Fuck you, man.
Well, have you ever wondered what it's like to be a superhero? What if your parents were superheroes? Well, this comic brings that to life. In this issue, let's just say there's a lot of father-son issues here. I don't want to give much away, so the story I gave about 8.5 kapows. I've been really enjoying this title. as I have with most Mark Millar titles. Now the art I felt kind of scratched, went going by really fast, but there's one thing I can say: he's great at making a very powerful person look weak when he needs to be, and that just adds to the atmosphere of the comic. And Travis, what did you read this week?
Your Kapow rating?
Oh no, yeah, you're right. Sorry. For the art, I'll give 6.5 Kapow.
Kapow!
So bam, I did Clive Barker's Next Testament. It's a new story that he's written. It's very cool, involves the god of color, amongst other gods that I assume will be later on in the series. But it's about really some mayhem, some Old Testament stuff coming back just to wreak some havoc for the fun of it. And the main character is still trying to figure out how to solve the issues a lot. And it's a lot of action in this comic, which is very nice. And it's issue 4 of 12. So it's like just even the beginning of this. So it's going to be a great story. I still feel like I give this easily 9.5 Kapows on just the story alone.
Kapow!
But with the art, I found that it did good with the gore, like the graphicness. But there's a lot of scenes where they're just like driving in a car or such, and it just seems plain. Like they'll have moments where they have that connection kind of thing of like good faces, but other than that, has moments where it just feels like it's just normal. So I'm only gonna give it like a 7.5 Kapows for that, unfortunately. But other than our comic books for this week, Villains Month is coming to an end because this is the last week of September.
That makes us sad.
A little bit.
But on the plus side, though, we will be saving a lot more money on
lot of money.
not paying $4 each
The
comic
lady
cover.
friends will be happy about that.
Just a little bit. I don't know, the 3D covers was a crazy idea for them to even come up with, and it worked perfectly. They must have sold out. Like, Black Adam was super undersold this week.
Yeah, I remember hearing immediately as soon as I heard that there was going to be 3D covers that DC already knew that they didn't print enough. And that people weren't going to get some, but we managed to collect most of them, like as a whole.
How many
Like,
are
a lot
you
of us got
missing?
what we wanted.
I'm only missing 4 of the 3D comics, which I'm going to try my best to get the 3D versions. I have all of them, but I'm only missing 4 of the 3D covers because I'm a huge villain fan.
What was all your favorite 3D covers? You know, that's what I want to know. It's like,
covers?
yeah, what was your favorite 3D cover? Just your favorite 3D cover.
The 3D-ness?
I honestly, I talked about it last week. I didn't like the Joker story, but the Joker cover is one of my favorites. And the Killer Croc that came out this week looks amazing.
I really think like the Joker's daughter was done very well. Like the way the face
Yeah, exactly.
moves, it's just like
That's
they're like
mine.
teasing
That's
it
right.
completely with it.
Yeah.
It's very well done.
That was my favorite cover.
What were
I have
the-
to agree
what
with
were
the
the good
face.
ones?
The face.
Lex
teasing.
was very well done with the
Yeah.
whole thing. How
My favorite itself was Arcane when he was ripping open his chest
Yeah.
and you see
I didn't,
cool.
honestly, I had
Big
no
and
idea who
black.
Arcane was, but I almost bought it just
It was-
because that cover was so cool.
Yeah, the cover
It
was,
was so
wicked.
cool. Like, it was sweet.
But in total, I think it was like just very well done. Like the motion pictures in total with it, they did it very well. It wasn't that cheesiness where it's like a complete like hand to here to hand to here and that was it. Kind of like they just had slight movement. But it was enough to emphasize major detail in the cover.
I like the Two-Face one where he's flicking the coin. The coin kind of moved in the front of the
Like
the
it's
cover.
coming at you.
Was really cool. I thought it was wicked.
So, what was your guys' favorite like issues that were story-wise, other than cover?
Story-wise, I would have to say, I don't know. There was some really great ones. I just want to mention Arcane. I've reviewed that. That was a fantastic one. The Penguin was amazing.
What was that, week 2?
Yeah,
Arcane.
that
So
was,
it should
Penguin
be
week 2.
in episode 2. His review.
I
Should
think
that
it
one.
was last week.
No,
Mine?
no. Last week you did. Was it King's Watch?
Yeah. I think that was episode 2.
That was next one.
Yeah, it was Arcane last week.
Yeah, so it was Arcane third issue. Alright,
Yeah,
but
right.
yeah, Arcane, the Penguin, and definitely Secret Society. Secret Society, for all those of you who haven't read it, fantastic. It's a
major tie-in.
Yeah, it's
also.
major tie-in to the Forever Evil. You learn a lot about background story. And the thing that I found neat is they kind of hint at why they took Nightwing hostage and didn't kill him like they supposedly killed the Justice League.
Yeah, for me, like a lot of the individual stories, each issue, a lot of the ones I read didn't have a whole lot to do with the Forever Evil tie-in, but I like the ones that had a tie, like had added color or depth, or advanced the Forever Evil storyline a lot because I thought they were cool as they wrote it in well. Two-Face was my favorite by far. I thought it was amazing. I really liked Roz and Scarecrow as well.
I like to say that one of my favorite issues would have to have been Ocean Master, which just came out this week. I know it's kind of fresh to me, but the whole comic book itself just jumped out, was fantastic. It's, again, Ocean Master is Aquaman's brother, and I have been reading Aquaman since the start on the New 52, which is odd because I thought Aquaman was kind of a weird character, but they made him awesome. Fantastic title. You get to learn more about the Ocean Master, Aquaman's brother.
I'm sorry, I was just thinking about like Aquaman's pretty much useless except for in a Sharknado, and then he's your best friend.
So one question though, what happened to like Nausea Man or whatever it was from first week?
Count Vertigo.
That's it.
It was Migraine Man.
Migraine Man.
It was a great story, but this one, I'm honestly telling you guys, haven't read it, read it. Great story. Again, it pulls on your heartstrings as well. You see a villain for not as much a villain of who he is. He's just a man who cares so much about his country. And just the very last page of that comic was just, it made me shout out like, yeah, that's freaking how it's supposed to be done. And then it was just so great, and I was so happy. Again, Ocean Master, Villains Month, read it.
I don't know, hands down, like, I love the cover for Lex, but, like, hands down was my favorite story, just because, like, Lex is personally one of my favorite villains, and just his smugness that he does it, like, the scene where he's like, do you want this? You can sell this for tons of money. Guess what? I'm just take this home, burn it, I don't care.
Yeah, he for all those you haven't read, it was
Orange
his orange prison jumpsuit. He offers it to the guard because he knows the guard could sell it on
Spoiler
eBay.
alert.
And
yeah, he says like you can pay your whole kid's college fees, but guess what? Can't have it.
No, he doesn't say you can have it. He's like, if you want, just come here and take it. And the guard just sits there and does nothing.
Because he knows Lex wouldn't give it to him either way. He's just mocking him, his arrogantness. And I love how like the whole issue is just a giant test kind of thing to just like show you how like Lex goes and judges everyone. No one's safe from Lex's judgment, and even so, how far he's willing to go just to prove a point.
Oh yeah.
Like he is radical and crazed at times, but he's also one of those calm and like smart people, which is so great. To see. And it ties in kind of because it leads you to see how he gets out of prison and gets to the
Yeah,
point
it's like a
of
prequel
encore.
to Forever Evil 1.
Which
Yeah.
Forever Evil 1 at the end of Forever Evil has like, it looks like Lex has kind of got a different opinion on the things that are happening.
Oh.
But aside
Like in
from
particular, the Man of Steel.
yeah, on top of being having really good Forever Evil tie-ins, one of the things that was also cool was the ones that were kind of standalone, just one shots, good stories about a particular villain that didn't have any bearing.
Yeah, like Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn's really well done.
Well, Harley Quinn had a tie-in at the end though.
Yeah, she did have a
Kind
time at the end.
of.
With,
She did. She did.
Deadshot?
Yeah,
With
well,
Deadshot.
well,
I
it's
almost said Deathstroke.
basically the Forever Evil
That'd be
has
good
done the
series.
tie-ins for Forever Evil, and then they've been setting up again for Task Force X, which is Suicide Squad. Basically talked about in Deadshot. Basically, Amanda Waller gives Deadshot a lot of money to get back the old
Like
squad.
dropping, like-
So he's dropping in all the issues, saying, "Well, this is my duty. We gotta go get this." And I don't know what Amanda Waller's plan is, but I'm really interested to find out.
Yeah. Well,
Something I found really cool was was all the villains that kind of like were at the end that were just
Right.
pissed off that this new
Like-
crime syndicate
Yeah.
is taken over.
yeah, that was one of the
Black
best
Adam.
things.
Black Adam, Ocean Master,
And
Riddler,
Black Manta.
Black Manta. He was
Riddler and Penguin are good examples of like they don't care what
What-
these new guys want to do. They're so
They just missed the
arrogant.
whole Batman.
They're so
Well,
arrogant.
The Penguin just wants the money.
He just wants to control the city, and it's just like
World, really.
he's just like forget these guys. I don't care what they're thinking about doing.
So you can-
so it wasn't just me. It seems like every episode was literally everyone rejecting the crime.
Yeah, they're gonna set up. I think that's the setup for the rest of Forever Evil. How the Earth One villains' arrogance and egos are gonna get in the way of the ultimate goals that they have.
But do you think they'll attack him?
Maybe.
I want to say
Because they set up.
Black
They
Manta's
already
been
set up a fight. They already
Black
set up a
Manta's
fight
already
between
said
the
I'm
two.
going after them. Black Manta's already said I am going after them.
Well,
Yeah.
that's gonna happen,
They
but
might
also realize
They're not willing to
still-
share. They want the whole pie to themselves, and it's gonna be intense. I think.
The other thing
It's
that
gonna
if you
look cool.
read the Solstice is there is one superhero team that's out there that's going to try and put a dent in it. Don't know how the Teen Titans are going to do against them, but they're soon enough to go up against the crime syndicate. Like a bunch of 14, 16-year-olds trying to take on these ultimately powered people from another world. This is going to end bad. This is just gonna be brutal. Like I want to see it, but it's like train wreck that you can't just look away from. Be like, I don't want to say I'm the one person who didn't see this, but I still don't want to say I saw this because you feel guilty.
So I get one of the other things that was new this week was Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. premiered.
Yeah.
Did any of you guys get to see it?
Not yet, unfortunately.
No? I watched.
I am gonna watch it.
I watched it last night.
gonna watch
I watched it last night. I love Clark Gregg, who plays Agent Coulson and all them.
Yeah.
He's in it. They brought him back in the show. They got an interesting kind of way of bringing him back. It's gonna go around. But the other one that I was super stoked about was Ron Glass is in the show, who played Shepard Book in Firefly. And Serenity, and I love Ron
That's
Glass. And I was like,
right?
half paying attention to the show, and then Ron Glass's name popped up on the screen, and I was like, the dog in the other room when the front door opens, like, what? And then I was like, I was gonna watch, and of course, Kobe Smulders made an appearance as Maria Hill, and she's gorgeous, so it's always nice to see her. But it looks like an interesting show. They got lots of money. They got lots of good effects going on right now.
And Joss Whedon.
And Joss Whedon,
Joss Whedon.
which is why Ron Glass is in the show, because Joss Whedon loves to use his people from shows, especially Firefly, because that show got canceled too soon.
Thank you for watching. Remember to pick up your weekly comics.
Yay!